Well. You're listening to Gloves Off with Professor Buitrón. Alright then, I may say words on point, straightforward. No jibber jabber, everybody forward. Issues, facts and solution. Get it at Gloves Off with Professor Buitrón. Alright, what other thing is a revolution? Get it on point with Professor Buitrón. Gloves Off, no nonsense issues, politics, community. A better men for Laredo. Gloves Off, a revolutionary show with everything that you need to know. With Professor Buitrón. Watch ya!
The following political paid advertisements do not reflect the political opinions of the program or its associates. Any political campaign or candidate who wishes to purchase advertising can do so. Advertising is open to all on behalf of Gloves Off.
Gloves Off, and today I have candidate Cepeda that's running in District 7, correct?
Correct, sir.
So how are we doing, Cepeda? You doing good?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here. You know, I'm looking forward to this campaign. You know,
Good. You know, campaigns are kind of tough, and especially now with everything going on, things change a little bit. You can't go door to door. You can't do stuff that's usually done. That, you know, it's changing just a bit, but I think it can still be done. Let me ask you this: how and when did you decide? You know what? I'm going to throw my name in the line.
You know, I started seeing on social media how the people are just, you know, they're frustrated. You know, they're on the decisions that our city leaders are making. Just a lot of things that I started seeing that the people started, you know, showing a lot of frustration, and. You know, I've witnessed the city stretch, divide, and rupture, you know. Laredo's an exceptional place to live, but due to certain elected officials pushing their political agenda, this city has become undervalued, you know. So, I don't know about you, but I'm tired of the lies, the compadrismo, and the lack of integrity that is being established, shown in our current leadership. So, this is why I'm running for City Council District 7.
Those are good, valid points. You know, are you from Laredo?
Yes, sir. I'm born and raised in Laredo.
And what's your occupation? What do you do?
So I'm a law enforcement officer with a border security experience.
Border security. Are you part of Border Patrol or something?
Yes, I do border security. Yes.
Okay, good. Let me tell you this. Laredo's in a very unique position, you know, because number one, we're the number one port in the nation.
Right.
And I'm glad you mentioned border security, because there's been a lot of pros and cons with the security of our border. Number one, the wall. Everybody wants to think, they think the wall is a racist thing, or a fence is a racist thing. They say we're not being good with our neighbors, but yet my house has a wall next to my neighbors.
Right.
My neighbors, some are exceptional, some are not. You know, just that's just the way it is.
Right.
Um, Now, with that being said, what do you feel about the wall?
So, as a law enforcement officer with border security experience, I can tell you firsthand that the wall is very effective. You know, and now with the current situation with the border wall, we want to make sure that whoever's making the decision, especially our city leaders, has to have the experience. And with me having the experience, you know, what better does the people want than having somebody firsthand that has the experience to make decisions? Because at the end of the day, the decisions that the city leaders make is going to affect the community. So you want to have somebody that has the experience, especially with the border wall.
Absolutely. You know, I look at the wall in many facets of it. You know, you got people that are crying that, you know, the raccoons aren't going to get water. Okay. And the fauna's not going to grow, and the environment's going to change, and so on and so forth. But our President Trump was not the one that put the first ball in. I believe it was President Clinton that started it, then Bush aided on it, and then Obama kept on going, and I guess finally he said, you know what, we need it. So I look at it in a lot of different ways. If this wall is going to stop one child from going into drugs, it's well worth it.
Right.
If it's going to stop human trafficking, it's well worth it. And that's something that we have to look at.
Right.
You know, we have to kind of think of ourselves. It's not racist, because many people live in neighborhoods that have burglar bars.
Mm-hmm.
What are you saying that? You know,
Yeah.
people say, oh, I don't want to live in that neighborhood that has burglar bars. But again, that's just the way it is.
Right.
And we have to live, we have to protect what we own, and unfortunately that's what it is. Nothing to say anything wrong about Mexico or whatnot, but we do have a situation in there. Now, with this crisis that crept up on us,
Right.
and we're still in it, the COVID crisis, you know, the bat suit flu, and now they're calling it the election infection, and so on. The names go on down the line.
A lot of
But
concern, yeah.
the virus is real.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so we have to have some concerns. And the concern with a lot of small businesses is that they were left behind by the city. What do you feel about that?
So as far as that, I mean, I saw that there were opportunities for small business loans, trying to come up with a word, money available. I think the city didn't do a good job in pursuing those options that are available for small businesses. So I've seen it on the news and everything that some small businesses were able to take advantage of a grant or the money that's available during this crisis. And I feel that here in this city, the leaders didn't really push that agenda to help the small business owners. So yes.
You know, what's sad is that, you know, I was reading and you know, I've been in business since here. We've had my business has been 30 years now.
Right.
You know, actually since '88, but you know, I've been teaching since '88. But 30 years, we had an annual exam this past. A lot of businesses aren't around 30 years, and I was looking at some on a Facebook page that a school in San Antonio that has been around for 10 years, and they said they developed so much in the community is no longer going to open its doors, and that hit home, you know, because of the type of facility that we use and we do. And I believe you're also an instructor of CrossFit, no?
Yes, I am an instructor of CrossFit, you know, and
So it hits a lot of people. There's a niche in that community
right.
that instructors of different variables were not able to make ends meet.
Right.
And that was sad. A lot of small businesses reached out to the city council, and there were only two city council that I can say from the beginning that really cared about it. One is Mercurio Martinez, and the other one was Vidal Rodriguez. The rest kind of like shrugged it off and left.
Right.
Now later on, now they're catching up and trying to say, oh, wait a minute,
Right.
let's see what we can do. But in the beginning, you know, they just kind of turned their back.
Right.
I feel for everybody in the community, and I
Right.
see where you're coming from. What would you do different?
So definitely what happened is the people, they reached out. The city leaders didn't respond. When people reach out to you, to your leaders, you have to respond. You have to figure out, hey, what's going on? How can we help the people? And I feel that, you know, when they reached out, I mean, only two. I mean, to me, that's unacceptable.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now let's look at your area is a little bit different because your area kind of hits 35 west and then all of a sudden goes up up the Mines Road.
Right. In some parts east of 35.
Absolutely, in some parts behind on East and 35.
Right.
Now, what are the things that you can say, you know what, this is what I'm going to tackle first.
Right. So the main thing in District 7, right, Mines Road, the traffic and everything, yes, that's a priority, but we also got to remember District 7 has other areas that need attention. So to me, if I was to be selected as the next councilman for District 7, I would see what's pending first. I know a lot of people talk future projects. I want to bring fresh ideas. No, let's figure out what's pending right now, get it done, and then from there move on to future projects. So yes, District 7, like I said, the main thing is Mines Road, but I mean, there's other areas that you got to tackle, and I've driven around and I've seen some areas that definitely need attention for that district.
Absolutely, absolutely. What else would you say? You know what? My experience. You were mentioning that you worked for the city at one time, huh?
Yes, I also bring in 6 years of managerial experience within the city of Laredo Utilities Department. So when I got employed, I became a warehouse supervisor, and all because of my resume. From there, I don't even remember, a private company called United Water stepped in.
Sure.
They gave me an opportunity to become a procurement management, and I took that position. So I learned about how to place bids, the requirements, and everything. And then once they left, we went back to the city, and I was given an opportunity to become a utilities inspector. As a matter of fact, do you remember when the water conservation plans kicked in? So I was the first water cop. I was given a badge, and not only was I out there making sure that contractors are blind to the map as far as water lines, sewer lines, and all the requirements. I was also tasked with making sure that people weren't abusing the water conservation plan. So I think that's very important because I know how the city operates, especially when it comes to bids and making improvements within the district. I have that experience. I know how to get bids, the requirements, all that good stuff. So that's very important.
It is true, water is life. And with that being said, what do you believe about secondary water source? What do you think about that?
I've heard about the PICO plant. The city hasn't really pushed to really try to get that secondary water source. I feel that there's a lot of priorities that the city hasn't really addressed. And definitely the secondary water source thing should be something that should be on the top of the list because water is life. We need water. And look at all the problems we've had, with the chlorine, the water and everything. I can tell you from experience, the city, the utility departments, they're obligated to buy everything, all the chemical that's needed. And it's really up to the management to make sure that everything is running smoothly. So secondary water source is definitely a priority.
What else would you say? You know what? As the city of Laredo, we need to bring this in. How about jobs?
Jobs too. We gotta look at our resources. Laredo has resources, and we gotta get them out there and try to get people. Get jobs, get this community going. Right now the city has a $20 million negative balance on the budget. That's outrageous, We gotta look at our resources. We gotta figure something out to start bringing that balance, from the negative to either equal or positive, We have right now, I think the city has a $1.4 million deficit within the utilities, the water. What's going on there? Why isn't the city leaders addressing this problem? You're talking about 1.4 million. We address that problem, we get that money back. That's 1.4 million that we don't have to worry about on the negative budget.
Right. And is this that they're behind because of what's going on in the crisis? People weren't paying, or what's going on?
You think about it, 1.4 million. I think it was beyond that crisis.
Sure.
So I don't know how aggressive the city is as far as collecting, but that's money that we need. That's money that we need. Definitely right now with this crisis, and definitely with the 20 million hit that we have with our budget.
Absolutely. you know, this crisis, there's a lot of protections that some were given by the governor, and I know now our president has given some as well. And we're in hard times.
Yes.
We're in hard times, but I think there's a difference between digging ourselves in a hole than falling in a hole and getting ourselves out. But
Right.
I think digging ourselves in the hole is a little different.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what happened here in Laredo. Believe me, I think we have some good guys that are on council. I think we have some guys that concern, but sometimes when you get in there, it's everybody else that doesn't want to do their job. I think you have to become, you know what, if this department is not doing their job, is not adequate, and we have all these complaints from them, then the head of that department needs to go.
Right.
And I think that's what we're lacking. All of a sudden, gee, how can we fire him? You know, he's a good guy, you know. And all of a sudden, the department keeps on going down and down, and nobody wants to be the henchman.
Right.
And I think we need that.
Yeah. You definitely need somebody who's going to take the initiative and say, you know what, there's a problem, we got to take care of it. Simple as that. So, because as a city leader, I mean, you see a problem, you got to address it. Address it, take care of it, move on. Simple as that. So, yeah, maybe you need somebody who's going to say, you know what, enough's enough.
Absolutely. You know, and it needs to happen. It needs to happen. But, you know, again, we're civilians. They're the leaders, so we can only project our voices for what the people want, and somehow make sure that they get to them.
Well, me, I'm not there to make friends. I'm there to better the community, to make Laredo a better place to live. I have no business ties. I don't know anybody. I don't have any family ties. I'm there to do my job. So maybe some of these people feel pressure not to do the right thing because maybe they're involved some way in a certain type of business, or they have family that they don't want to ruffle their feathers. I guess I don't know, but at the end of the day, I always tell people, look, I don't know anybody. I don't have any family. I'm there to do my job and to make this community a better place to live. Simple as that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, your race is kind of interesting because now there's 10 individuals that are involved in it.
I saw.
And I think, talking to everybody, because, this is the first time we meet, and I think everybody seems to want to do something for the community. What do you feel about that?
Definitely. I mean, overall, not only the district, but for the community, At the end of the day, when it comes to council meetings, they all make a decision based on the city, So it's not just the district. We gotta also make sure that our community is taken care of. So the decisions that's being made, we gotta make sure it's gonna positively impact the community. So yes, it's a district, but overall, it looks like the city overall needs better decision making. So,
yesterday there was a lot of talk about. There was an article that came out that Laredo was top of the line, top 5 of city managers that got paid after they left. More than the president, at least one of them. And how do you feel about that? What's your idea to that type of scenarios?
So I saw that story. Apparently, it was like a payoff, some kind of a payoff. But I mean, at the end of the day, the city leaders make the final decision, And I feel that what was so what was the reasoning for him to get that much money, So I felt that the city leaders didn't really make that decision. Like, I don't know the story. Maybe there was a grievance or something going on there because the guy I think retired, right? Something happened that he retired and got that money, that payoff money. But at the end of the day, I don't know what happened. But I really feel that the city leadership have definitely reassessed how this money was going to impact. You're talking about close to $1 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the situation could have been done better. But then again, I don't know what was the situation on that. But man, that's a lot of money.
Well, I look at it in 2 facets. For him, great negotiator. For the city, bad negotiation.
Right.
So we have to. When is it? If he did it and negotiated that money, may God bless them.
Right.
If somebody's making money, I want them to make more. Okay? Now, if you're losing money because of bad decisions, then that's your problem. And I think that's what happened with the city, bad decisions and bad negotiations. And I think that's what needs to happen. I think most of the contracts and everything from the legal standpoint, the legal department, they're sent off. And I've always said, if they're going to be sending them off, let's just remove our lawyers that we have there, because they're not basically doing anything. We're sending everything up. Let's just get contracted out. Might be cheaper.
Yeah.
In the long run. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yes.
Contract the work out. We have some excellent lawyers here in Laredo, but everything goes out in San Antonio, whatnot. We can bid it out.
Right.
If that's what's going to happen, if that's what's going to be, then remove that department.
Yeah.
And it's sad, but it is the truth.
Yeah. So we got to look at the resources. We got to see how the resources are they contributing to the city. So we got to definitely look at this budget, because it's not just $1 million or $2 million, it's 20 million. One thing that I'm proposing, if I get elected, I'm going to bring up the discretionary fund. We as city leaders should help with this negative balance. So what I'm going to propose, if I get elected, is every councilman give back half of that discretionary fund. So if you get 8 people to say yay, you're talking about over $2 million that can go back to get rid of this negative balance on our budget. So that's something that I really think as city leaders, should implement, especially right now.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about funding and defunding. One of the major things that popped up, as we know, was the defund the police throughout the whole United States.
Right.
To me, I think that's a no-no. Whether or not you like the police, we need to make sure that they have better training.
Right.
And better training comes what? You have to pay more.
Right.
And everything always happens is they lose the budget. What's the first thing to go out? The training.
Right.
They stop paying the training, and they'll pay somebody to get a weekend certificate, and he's out there teaching something that he doesn't even know. So I think better training is needed throughout.
Right.
Because it is a must. Better negotiation skills. What do you think about that? Defunding the police.
Well, look what's going on with some of the major cities. They're defunding the police. And it's a good thing you brought up that question, because I have the experience. So, with experience as a use of force instructor with my employer, I can tell you that training is paramount. It's very important, Look at all the city council leaders doing the decisions, defunding, taking money away. Why? Because they don't know. They don't have the experience. They don't have the first-hand experience on how training is so important, because training really helps when you encounter a real-life scenario. So I think it's very important that you have leaders have that experience making decisions, because remember, the decisions they make is going to affect the community. So look at, I think the latest city is Austin. They slashed $150 million. So we want to have somebody, especially here in Laredo, that that's going to make decisions that are going to be very important, that have the experience. And I have that experience.
Absolutely. Well, Mr. Cepeda, we're running out of time, but if somebody wishes to contact you for your campaign,
Right.
how can they go about it?
So there's different ways. I do have my campaign page on social media. I also have my email, cepedabenigno@yahoo.com. Pretty much that's some of the ways to contact me. But before we are done with this interview, I just want to tell the people of Laredo that I bring 18 years of honorable service. I've taken the oath multiple times, and I've withheld the Constitution, the laws of the United States, and the state of Texas for 18 years. I also bring in 6 years of managerial experience within the city. I want to bring back core values like honor, courage, and commitment to the leadership in Laredo, because I think it's needed very, very much right now.
Yeah, well, you're right. We have to go back to basics.
Yes.
And I look at it in the fight game. A man that's good in his basics is a hard man to beat.
Right.
So right now we have to go back. We have to take a step back.
Right.
and we have to realize what we've lost before we can try to gain anything without any foundation. Right now, we have to bring back our small businesses, we have to bring back business to Laredo, and we have to keep that strong, stronger than ever. And it's not just one business, because everybody always goes one business, which is the import-export and the hell with everything else. And that has to stop. How about all the restaurants? How about all the dance studios and martial arts schools, the print shops, the tattoo parlors, the barbers, the hairstylists, and nail salons that keep the city moving in a direction. They were thrown to the dogs. Okay, they were shut down and they were bullied into submission, and they continue to be bullied into submission. And I think people are tired, and they're basically they're going to voice their opinion in the next elections, and that's what's going to happen. And let's move forward. And we wish you, as well as I wish everybody else, you know, at the end of the day, this is probably going to end up in a runoff, and then at the end of the day, there's only going to be one. And I wish all of you all the best, because number one, I see folks that are standing up.
Good. We need people to stand up and voice their concern. And as city leaders, we need to they need to hear the people.
Absolutely. Till next time, it was a pleasure. Folks, remember, study each and every candidate. Your voice matters, more so now than ever. And if you can go to the store with a mask on, you can go vote, period. Do not be swindled into let's mail in ballots, because that's the way they're going to rob things. Till next time, peace.
Determined 2020 for the people, not the system.
Absolutely.
The following political paid advertisements do not reflect the political opinions of the program or its associates. Any political campaign or candidate who wishes to purchase advertising can do so. Advertising is open to all on behalf of Gloves Off.